I think of this single mom right now raising a child or 2 or 3 that is scrimping for herself so she can put a good meal on the table.
You can choose to turn back the clock 50 years on women and immigrants and gays, or in this election, you can stand up for the kind of America that says we embrace everybody.
All right, that, of course, both the president and the governor on the stump trying to appeal to women voters, and for very good reason. Women, and I don't think this is even maybe, I think this probably will end up deciding this election. New polls not looking good for the president in this arena. He's now polling even with Romney after leading among women by as many as 16 points. That was only a month ago here. And among white, married, middle-class women, Romney, he's ahead by more than 20 points. This, you talk to any strategist, will tell you, is a real issue for the president. However, Romney's new gains among women may soon be lost, and in large part because of this.
I came to realize life is that gift from God, and I think even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that it is something that God intended to happen.
God intended for a rape to happen. Okay, now you say, okay, why is this guy in Indiana a problem for Romney? Because Mr. Murdoch was endorsed by, yes, Mitt Romney. In fact, as the Obama campaign took no time to point out, Mitt Romney has made only one ad endorsing a Senate candidate, and it's this one.
This fall, I'm supporting Richard Murdoch for Senate.
Now, Romney, he backed away from Murdoch's comments. He did so the night of the debate, but he still supports Mr. Murdoch and has not asked for the ad that you see in front of you to be pulled. Team Romney made the following statement. Governor Romney disagrees with Richard Murdoch, and Mr. Murdoch's comments do not reflect Romney's views. We disagree on the policy regarding exceptions for rape and incest, but still support him. But Team Obama, again, not only did they take no time here to point out the connection between the two, but they also came out with a new spot slamming Romney for his association with Murdoch and for selecting a running mate they say holds the exact same views.
When it comes to rape, should it be legal for a woman to be able to get an abortion if she's...
Yeah, well, so I'm very proud of my pro-life record, and I've always adopted the position that the method of conception doesn't change the definition of life.
For the record, I always hate scary music in ads, but anyway. Now,
Halloween.
I honestly think that, thank you for the segue. I honestly think the last 48 hours could have fundamentally changed some of the dynamic. Now, you're going to tell me, and I know, Congressman, you're right, that, hey, the candidate that's running for president does not share the same views as what we saw there. But, Donna, first we had Missouri with Todd Akin, and the idea of legitimate and illegitimate rape or whatever insanity that he spouted. Romney separated himself. Now you've got this guy, and I still don't know why he didn't cut him loose, but you have this connection. Is it legitimate to say that women out there say, wait a second here, if Ryan believes in what this guy says, and now there's 3 of them, and even if I don't follow Washington politics, could we be talking about a rollback to Roe v. Wade? Does this get back on the table as an election issue?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the question is the Republican Party hazardous to women's health? I really think that that's a serious question for women to be considering. Even women, I mean, let's face it, women, Catholic women practice birth control by and large. So I think what Obama has done is brilliant in that he's making the issue of birth control and abortion a pocketbook issue. One about economics, again, getting back to economics, even beyond the whole issue of these comments. So I think it's really going to...
But is he really making about economics? Because economics is why most people believe the gap has closed so much, because the soccer mom, as I said, that's now the waitress mom, they're tired of the current economic scene. I think, I don't know if it was brilliant on Obama, I don't think it had anything to do with when Murdoch decided to open his mouth and insert both feet. It's now, wait a second, in 2012, we're refighting the idea of choice. Is this really on the table right now? I I don't know. I think this is going to make people think twice.
I could not agree with you more. I think it's, and I know you're chomping at the bit to get in here.
Why didn't he cut him loose? Why didn't he just say, I have nothing to do with this guy, take my ad down?
It's not in the nature of leadership and politics.
He did it to Aiken. Time out.
Bear in mind, the Democrat convention. Wait a minute. Give me a break.
So where was his leadership there?
The Democrat convention tried to get rid of God. Now, how long did that last, if you recall? Remember the amendments? Remember the amendments on the floor? So this guy is saying God created life when somebody got raped. Both positions are ridiculous. The American people aren't so stupid that they're going to base their vote on either one of those stupid positions.
He cut Todd Aiken loose in Missouri when he said that, and he asked him to get out of the race. Now this comment comes up and says, I don't agree with it, but yeah, I still run my ad and I still support you.
There's a difference between Murdoch and Aiken. Aiken's belief, his misguided belief, excuse me, was based on bad science, that he legitimately thinks that a woman's body cannot conceive.
Shut that thing down.
Right. Whereas Murdoch's is about faith. And that's a third rail for Romney. Romney can't afford to get too far involved in discussions about faith and belief because of his background and the background of most of the religious voters who are supporting
Everything
him.
you said is 100% true, except Darren, when you get down the last 2 weeks of any election, it's about triage and difficult choices.
This is a disaster.
Politically, should he have cut him loose?
It's a disaster for the Romney campaign. You're 12 days out and we're on day 2 talking about this issue. And any day that Mitt Romney is not talking about the economy and unemployment, he is off message and he's spiraling. This thing is growing. It's not shrinking, it's growing.
Benghazi is a disaster. This is not a disaster because this one individual's comments, which were poorly framed, do not reflect the mainstream of Republican thinking.
12 days out, no one wants to talk about.
But isn't it two guys and isn't it 3 guys? Isn't it now the question of, now Paul Ryan, wherever he goes, he's got to ask, how was your opinion different than, wait a second, why isn't the fair question of Paul Ryan, do you agree with Mr. Murdoch? Do you believe that even in the case of rape here, that it's God's will and that this woman should be forced to carry the child to term?
Because Paul Ryan already answered the question. He said, I'm running with Mitt Romney. He will be the president of the United States, and he sets policy. It's just that simple. And it's over. And besides, why is the government getting into these issues? I'm a pro-choice Republican. I don't think the government has any business screwing around with this stuff. I think it's up to my wife and my daughter to decide, so why don't these guys shut up and talk about what most American women are concerned about is their job, their income, and whether they can send their kids to college and give them the food and the clothing that they deserve. It's an economic issue. That's where we ought to be having the debate.
But the point is that would be fine if they didn't talk about women's issues, and they do. That's part of their platform.
And my view is, shut up and get on with it.
Richard, but you know what the problem with this is? And Professor, I think 99.9% of women and a good deal of men would agree with what you just said, respectfully. But here's the problem.
I love when he does that.
But here's the problem. The Democrats have a messaging problem. How did you let Romney steal all of this women's support from you? Historically, and you know I'm right on this, Congressman.
He persuaded him.
No, he stole it. He stole it. What Romney did is three-card Monty. Three-card Monty.
Respectfully.
I'm not going to tell you what my position is, but I support you. This guy has run commercials based on half-truths when it comes to women's issues, and he's stolen women's support.
But what I want to focus on my limited time is not
earned it.
I don't care. I do care, but it doesn't matter how we got here. We're where we are right now. And Mitt Romney's changed his position on choice at least 3 times publicly. Again, doesn't matter.
What about his running mate?
It's baked in. I'm saying now, this issue with 12 days left, I don't think goes away. And I think in every conversation, even if he sits on the couch at the Tonight Show, this question's going to be asked. I don't know how you get around it, and I do know this. While people care about the pocketbook first, they don't want to go in the booth thinking, well, what could happen to something that we've relitigated? This was 50 years ago. Wait a minute. What would these guys do to gay marriage? What would these guys do to all these social tenets that they don't want to hear about talking heads like me say, but all of a sudden they see some lunatic say it, say, wait a minute, maybe I got to give a second look. I mean, I think I'm not overhyping this, am I?
No, and I think that women in this day and age, they don't want to be told what they should be doing with their bodies.
Exactly.
But the Republican Party
is doing that.
Exactly.
No, the Republican Party is not doing that. Single Republicans are doing that. I'm part of the Republican Party. I'm not doing that.
Congressman, my good friend Dominic would say, with due respect, did you look at the platform at the GOP convention?
And with due respect, does anybody look at the platform?
No.
All right, thank you. I rest my case.
It's single Republicans.
And thank God the Democrats put God back in their platform.
Single Republicans like the presidential nominee, single Republicans like the vice presidential nominee, single Republicans like the senatorial nominee from New York and from New Jersey and from Connecticut and from, I mean, you're saying it's single Republicans, but you put enough single Republicans together and you get a party policy that is making this an issue.
The Republican presidential candidates, they don't have to discuss this. You know why? It's 12 days left. You do very few interviews. You talk on the stump. You give rallies, and that's it. You have your surrogates.
The only thing is, Obama's had a problem motivating base. I don't think he's even got to do anything right now. I think the Emily Lists of the world, I think the NARALs, I think the rest, if they were even lukewarm on the guy here, they will rally base over this because they say whoever the next president is, we talked about this last night, probably will have one, maybe even two Supreme Court vacancies to fill. And it doesn't take too much in a 30-second spot to connect the dots.
Justice Roberts
what he's done is
settled law. It's settled law. Roe versus Wade is not going away. It's going to be there. It's settled law. I mean, come on.
So we should just believe the governor?
About this.
We should just believe what he says.
Donna, you will thank me, but I will free you from this lunatic asylum. Thank you so much here. You did a great job. Dr. Cornachio, thank you. All right. When we come back, we will get into a lot more of some of the snapshots in the campaign trail, including, I want to talk about the idiot of the day, a congressman's son caught on tape giving advice on how to commit voter fraud. And yes, he's a Democrat congressman. We'll get into all that when we come back.
Respect.
Respect. Respect.